Hello everybody, Zeno here on Xtra76. Just wanted to make a little video about when you're repairing small electronics. I just want to tell you, please take the time to be extra careful and be slow and double check. If you're taking anything apart, please double check online to see how it's taken apart, because I have made tons of mistakes just repairing my 3080, and that's pretty much what all I'm going to talk about in this little video here. Is I've had to modify my 3080 quite a bit. It's quite a common thing to do, especially if you crypto mined on it before. I haven't crypto mined in a long time, mind you, but it was a thing I did to make sure the thing wouldn't overheat or crash while I was using it. And so what I did is take it apart. I put thermal pads on it, and in order to take the thermal pads off, you have to take the heat sink off. And sorry, I'm holding this here because this will be a big demonstrator of the thermal paste I had to reapply multiple times on this exact 3080. But I had to take off the heat sink and put on the thermal pads for the VRAM, because the VRAM is what gets hot when you crypto mine. And then you have to reseat the 3080 with thermal paste so it covers the chip correctly and helps transfer the heat onto the copper and into the steel casing, which helps disperse the heat. That's what pretty much the whole rest of the part of your graphics card does. That isn't the chip. You know, your whole chassis is what I like to call it, is what helps disperse the heat away. Well, if you're not careful and you forget to put they tell you not to coat the dang thing in a whole bunch of thermal paste, but I was like, okay, I'll be a little light on it then. I'll make sure, it gets that weird design on it. And I tried to copy exactly what I did when I reapplied thermal paste on a CPU, which, mind you, is a completely different process. And I ended up not seating the chip perfectly with the right amount of thermal paste, which caused it to get develop hot spots onto the chip and crash. And this was happening for like 3 months straight. I always wondered why, when I was playing Battlefield or some graphics intensive game like playing in VR or something like that, the chip would make all the screens go black. It would ramp the fan up to 100%, and you couldn't ever recover back your desktop. You'd have to forcefully shut it down and turn it back on for it to actually get your screen back and all your stuff. Like, the sound would still play and all that stuff. It's a common problem amongst people who have modern graphics cards, and it was especially prominent in the 30 series cards. And I thought maybe I had a defective card and I would have to RMA the dang thing and wait weeks to get a replacement. But the one thing I did was open her back up and see what the heck was wrong, and little did I know, I missed one little spot in the bottom right corner that did not have thermal paste on it, and that was probably the whole reason why it was crashing over and over and over again. And so when I reapplied the thermal paste, I made sure to actually, I didn't use my hand, I'm just using a demonstration here, but imagine a square on my hand, and I'm literally making sure it's like pancake, imagine you're putting frosting on a cake. I made sure every little piece on top of that chip was covered in thermal paste, used just the right amount, and I reseated that sucker, and now it doesn't crash anymore. But I was still an idiot when I was watching the how to take apart the 3080 video, that I accidentally blinked off a piece of my 3080, and it's more of a cosmetic thing than anything else. But unfortunately, the LED light that shows your GeForce RTX in the side of your case, I accidentally desoldered. I didn't use a solder, but I accidentally ripped off the little cable that solders it to the chip that enables it to have power, because I was an idiot and didn't know how to take it apart correctly. So what I did was just kind of keep yanking on it until it went, yeah, it went train noise. If you heard that, that was a train. But it went thick, and I was like, oh, great. And I was looking online, and I'm one of the few people ever to actually be stupid enough to do this, and it looks like the only way you can actually fix it is to solder it yourself, but there's really no guide on how to solder it. So as of right now, I have a fixed 3080 that is now battle scarred, is the way I like to put it, because now the light doesn't turn on. Now again, that doesn't matter unless you really, really like the light, and in my case, a Founders Edition 3080, that light is pretty to look at when you're looking at the case. I mean, I'm more looking at my screens than anything else. But now there's a little cable sticking out, on the side of the graphics card, and it's my 3080. It's that kind of personalized. So that's very unfortunate that I decided to do stupid things like that. And the other common problems I thought that was causing the crashing was bad power supply. People said bad power supplies that don't deliver the power properly cause this black screen 100% fan issue. Having daisy-chained power cables is bad for it, which I hear is a whole nother problem, so I made sure that wasn't an issue. So you had to take apart your PCIe power cables and make sure they're two separate cables instead of one that delves off into the other one, because those are really meant for other devices and things like that. I didn't fix it. I wanted to make sure that the BIOS was updated correctly, the motherboard was updated correctly. All that did nothing in terms of making it stable, and it just turned out to be thermal paste. So be careful with your when you take apart your graphics card, just be careful to make sure you actually take it apart right and not battle scar it like me. I just wanted to talk about it, because if people are having problems like that, do that first and then work your way down. And you know, worst case scenario, these things only cost $7-8. And look, I'm still not even halfway through this, and I have used this to reapply CPU, my server computer with new thermal paste. I have reseated this with thermal paste twice, the 3080, and I'm still nowhere near done using it, and I might have to use this on my CPU soon. So seriously, don't fret about wasting thermal paste if you have to reapply it over and over again, taking apart your PC components, because it's worth to make sure that you start with that and then work your way down in terms of these kinds of problems. I don't know, just a weird ramble video to help me get into the editing mood again, so that's why I'm putting it on my Xtra channel. So again, if this solves your problem or you just wanted to learn, well, be reminded to take care of your electronics and be extra slow and safe. Think of it as cutting wood. Measure twice, cut once. Just be slow. But yes, hope you enjoy the video. Xtra76 is out. My name's not Xtra76, it's Xeno76. Xeno's out on Xtra76. I'll see you later.